So in today's reaction video, we're going to be reacting to a video titled How Americans Are Paying for a Vacation. Now this video was almost a year ago. It was about 10 months ago when this video came out. I've seen the video, but it's been a while. But I think it's really telling of how people are really paying for these vacations and how much they're paying for vacations. So this video should be pretty interesting. Let's see what they're talking about for how Americans pay for vacations. And I want you guys to comment in the comment section what your guys' thoughts are. How much are you paying for vacation? How are you paying for vacation? Whatever thoughts come to mind, type them in the comment section as we watch this video together.
Average vacation cost for one person in the United States is a little under $2,000 per week.
More than a third of summer vacationers, 36%, are willing to take on debt this summer for their travels. The reason that's worrisome is because the average
Go back to that.
of summer vacationers, 36%, are willing to take on debt this summer for their.
We can't take on debt for vacation. We can't. How can you relax? How can you go on vacation, relax, and take out debt? Now, this could say maybe they plan on putting the vacation on a credit card, to get the points, to get the rewards, and pay it off when they need to. Maybe that's why they're willing to take out debt. Because I'm willing to take out debt. I'm willing to pay with my credit card for vacations because I get some extra points. I might get the extra flights or the extra hotel stays. I'll get the points for those things, but I'm gonna pay it off the next month. I'm gonna make sure that I have enough money in my account to pay it off. I'm not going to take out debt that I know I won't be able to pay off for a vacation. It's just completely backwards to take out debt to go on vacation. So you're gonna stress after your vacation or stress while you're on vacation on how you're gonna pay this vacation off. And you're probably paying it off for years and years to come. I'll try not to pause too much because I think this is a very interesting video. And I think that we can learn a lot from this video.
Their travels. The reason that's worrisome is because the average credit card charges over 20%, which is close to a record
It's crazy.
I don't want to tell people they can't have any fun, but this represents a lot of people taking on expensive debt. And this is the kind of thing that can linger.
Globally, 72% of millennials and 65% of Gen Zs said they plan on spending more on leisure travel in 2024 compared to 2023. In the US, 47% of millennials and 42% of Gen Zs said they plan to take on debt to go on summer vacation.
There are so many compelling reasons why people choose to take on debt to have these vacations. If your kids are dreaming of going to Disney World.
Disney World's crazy. Disney World's crazy. I did a video talking about the cost of Disney World. I was reacting to a video. They were talking about the cost of Disney World, and I even did some research, just quick, 5-minute excerpt, and I went over how expensive it is to go to Disney. I think it was like $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 for a few days stay, going to all the parks and hotels and the flights. It was crazy. It was crazy how much someone's paying to go to Disney World. I think I did the family of 4. Things are kind of meant in 4s.
And there's no way the family could ever really swing it without going into debt. It could be a memory the family will have forever. Parents often can rationalize spending in these terms for their children.
Here's how Americans are paying for their summer vacations.
Let's see how Americans paying for the summer vacations. Oh man.
Credit cards are the most common way people pay for their vacations.
Of course.
62% of Americans surveyed said they put at least some of their trip on a credit card.
And again, I paid for my entire trip by my credit card. So if I got a survey, and I've never actually got any surveys or filled one out, but if I got a survey and they said, how do you pay for your vacations? I mean, it's technically cash because I paid off immediately. I paid off, not immediately, but I paid off, right at the end of the month or whenever I have to pay it off, I paid off. So I do purchase all my vacations. I purchase everything with my credit card so I can get the points, so I can get the rewards, and then I pay it off. Never missed a payment, never been late.
Financial experts say that this can be a risky move if the borrower cannot pay the balance in time to not be charged interest.
Exactly.
The average credit card balance is already over $6,000, according to TransUnion. If you add $1,000 in vacation expenses to that, maybe it feels like a drop in the bucket, but it just makes it that much harder. That's $6,200. If you make minimum payments at the average interest rate of 20.7%, you're going to be in debt for 18 years, and you're going to pay more than $9,000 in interest. So
you're going to pay more than $9,000 in interest for a $6,000 balance? That's insane. You're going to pay a lot of money in interest. That is insane. I can't believe people are actually going into debt for this amount of money and actually staying in it for a long period of time and paying all the interest and just losing out on all this money that can be invested into the future, invest into their kids' future. Maybe they're kind of being selfless by taking people on vacations that they can't afford. They're just not being smart with their money. It's crazy to think that people are actually doing this.
Some of this is making a bad situation worse.
The debt feels like this trade-off for a lot of people. It's ultimately the interchange between money for these lifelong memories and seminal experiences. And that's a sacrifice many are not only willing to make, but feel so strongly in doing so. Especially when debt is a weight many people are already accustomed to carrying.
Consumers are still out there.
Like I said, I don't want to pause too much because I really want you guys to soak this video in. If you see this video in the comment section, comment that down below. But just kind of soak this in and see what's going on.
Using their credit cards, their credit card balances are over $1 trillion now. We're seeing actual delinquencies on credit now rising. People are dipping into their savings. But bottom line is that they're still spending.
Not all credit card users are paying interest. 43% of Americans said they use their credit cards to pay for their trips,
Exactly.
but paid it off in full to avoid interest. This also comes with the perk of accumulating rewards points.
Use those rewards points and miles. Put those to use. But it doesn't make sense to pay 20.
We're actually going to Orlando in a few days. And so far for this trip, I've only spent $130. That was just what was left over for my flight. So the flight was paid in points. The hotel was paid in points. The rental car was paid in points. I used my credit card for everything. So my Orlando trip so far, I've only paid $130, and that was just for the flights. If you spend within your monthly budget, points can definitely be worth it.
Interest just to get 2 or 3 or 4% cash back or airline miles.
In order to avoid interest while still having more time to pay off the credit card balance, some vacationers choose to open a new credit card that provides them with 0% interest for a set period of time.
The risk here is that once the term expires, the rate goes way up.
And I've done that too. Like, I hope I don't stop too much, but I've done that too. I've taken out 0% APR card and I paid it off, well within the amount of time before it started gaining interest, because I focused on it. I knew that I wanted to pay this card off, and I made sure that I had automatic payments of at least the correct amount that would pay it off within a year. And I put extra payments towards it, and I don't use that card anymore.
Another option vacationers are considering is taking out a
Horrible
loan.
idea. Horrible idea.
5% of vacationers plan to take out a personal
That is
loan
terrible.
from a financial
That is
institution,
terrible.
which typically carries a lower interest rate than credit cards. The average interest rate of a personal loan in June 2024 was about 12%. 6% of those surveyed said they plan to borrow from friends or family.
I think both of those represent a slippery slope. Personal loan rates have gone up a lot.
That debt equals irresponsible is so pejorative and such a simplistic way of looking at this, that there's all different reasons and rationales why we might intentionally go into debt. People don't think taking out a mortgage for a home and making this a lifelong investment is irresponsible, but it can be a really bad investment.
Super
in a lot of
irresponsible.
cases.
I think
so
it
you
is.
have to consider, where is it important for you to invest your money? And maybe it is this trip with these lifelong memories. With
There's
your
no
family
way.
that
There's
you'll
no
never
way.
get back.
Another option is loaning money to yourself out of a 401k account. A loan
Definitely
is
not
different
doing that
from a
either.
401k withdrawal. Withdrawals have different rules and tax implications. Loans are not permitted from IRA or IRA-based plans. The reason someone may go this route is instead of paying interest to a financial institution, they would pay themselves back over time with interest. That payment will go back into their retirement account and eventually accumulate compound interest.
Borrowing from your retirement plan definitely worries me, because really the biggest predictor of future returns is time in the market. So even though we don't know what stocks are going to do this week or this month or this year, over the long haul, they've been massive wealth builders. So I feel like that would be more of a last resort if there's kind of an emergency. Going on vacation is not an emergency.
Not at all. Going on vacation is not an emergency. You don't have to go on vacation. There's nothing out there that says you deserve a vacation for your hard work and dedication. There's nothing out there that says you need to go on vacation. Don't take out a loan to go on vacation. Don't dip into your 401k to go on vacation. Don't dip into your 401k for any reason, to be honest. We want to invest into our future. We want to retire so that our kids aren't worried about us. We want to retire so that we're comfortable in our older life, and borrowing from your 401k will do the opposite of that. But you're paying yourself back in interest at 4% when The market's getting 7, 8, 9, 10% returns on your money. Do not take out loans for a vacation. It is not worth it at all. I promise you it's not worth it at all.
It is interesting how, while you could say on one hand that it's worrisome that credit card balances are near record highs and the personal saving rate is near a record low, this is powering a lot of economic growth. But what's good for the economy is not always good for your household finances.
Consumer spending makes up nearly 70% of US GDP, which means a rise in consumer spending can spur economic growth. But a rise in consumer debt can lead to a hard pullback in spending, which can cause what's called deflation.
Deflation is just generally associated with not just recessions, but deep recessions in the economy.
A recession occurs when there's, quote, a significant decline in economic activity that is spread across the economy and lasts more than a few months.
Historically speaking, deflation means that prices are actually coming down, and the reason why prices are coming down is because people aren't spending money. The reason why people aren't spending money is
we
because
need
they
prices
don't
to
have
come
jobs
down.
and they can't afford to go out and take a trip to Hawaii or go out and buy a new Lexus or do those kind of things. They're just kind of trying to tread water, and they're not even doing that, so therefore prices are going to have to keep coming down.
It's important to remember that there's not just one consumer story.
You have the same consumer that might be out there spending on travel, going to events, whether it's concerts or sporting events, which we are seeing very, very clearly, and that's driving some of these travel trends. And they're doing it in a way that's really strategic. At the same time, that same strategic consumer might be walking into a store and really thinking carefully about how they're spending, looking for the best promotion, the best discount. So it's not one story for the consumer. And I think that's really important because it creates a lot of complications in the narrative, because you have consumers looking for discounts, you have consumers looking for promotions, and you have consumers that want to make their dollars work the best they can in the way that works for them.
Financial experts say the key to affording a vacation is to plan ahead. Advisors say the first step is figuring out what you want to spend and to set a budget for the trip.
This is our allowance for
You have to set budgets for your trips. And this is something I just started doing recently. I actually started tracking how much we spend on vacations. I've talked about this before in a vacation video. In my notes, I have vacation costs. I guess what we're aiming for, we don't have a solid set budget, but I know how much in total I want to spend. Like, I have my set costs. You have your flight, you have your hotel, you have your car rental. I see how much that's going to cost, and then I decide if the vacation is going to be worth it. So if we have a hotel and a flight on the all-inclusive resort, so all we need is the hotel and the flight, then I'm going to see how much that's going to cost, and I'm going to base that, and then I'm going to decide whether that vacation is worth it or not. If I have to get a hotel, flight, and a rental, and we're at $5,000, $6,000, I might not go with that vacation. But if I'm all in with those things, maybe I got some points, and I'm at maybe $1,500, then we might go on that vacation. But you have to think about all the other things that are going to come up, because you're going to pay for food if you're not going to an all-inclusive resort. Maybe you're not doing a car rental. Maybe you're doing Ubers to get around. You might pay for clothes. You want to do some shopping. There might be excursions that you want to do. There's so many things that you need to think about before you go on vacations. So you want to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row before you go on vacation, and that you're thinking strategically about what you're going to do with your money, because you can definitely go over budget and just spend on a credit card if you have no budget in mind. So have something in mind, know how much you want to spend on a vacation, so that you're not ending up stressing when you come back home from vacation because you see your bank account's empty and your credit cards ran up.
for trips or activities, so you can kind of make sure your behavior is consistent with your values, because money on trips can feel like monopoly money. I had a client I worked with who decided they were going to stay in an Airbnb and they were going to cook all of their food. So they were going to save on food and they were going to splurge on this boat trip they were really excited about. And it felt like a compromise.
The next step after establishing a budget would be making a plan to save.
You can start small and daily. Maybe you're going to set aside a little bit of money each day or each.
Guys, listen up. I mean, they're literally telling you how to save, how to budget for vacations. Save monthly. If you're going on vacation in 9 months and you have to save a certain amount of money, then save that certain amount of money. If you're going to spend $1,000, you have to save a certain amount of money monthly. Do that. It's going to be worth it. So listen to what they're saying on how to save for vacations.
Each paycheck to this dream vacation.
Let's go back.
A plan to save.
It can start small and daily. Maybe you're going to set aside a little bit of money each day or each paycheck to this dream vacation. And it can be helpful to have kind of a calculation set up.
On top of
Exactly.
setting aside the money, you can also find small ways to save on costs to make the most of your trip.
There are plenty of ways to save. You can have fun on a budget. You can use your frequent flyer miles or credit card points. You could be open-minded about when and where you go. Kind of zig when others zag. Maybe travel in the off-season or the shoulder season, or drive instead of fly, or travel midweek instead of on the weekend. If you can let
That's
the
what I do. I
deal
travel
dictate
midweek.
the destination, that can really help you out. Flexibility is key.
There's times when you just have to be realistic. If you financially can't swing a vacation,
Then
can you
don't
get creative?
do it.
Can you find a way to take a break from your life or mimic a vacation without the big expense?
Maybe even do a staycation. I think that's an underrated option. This idea of playing tourist in your local area. So there's a way to have fun without busting the budget.
Nearly half of Americans said they plan to skip their summer vacation, with 65% of them saying affordability was the main issue.
And that's
I kind of worry
okay.
about both of those extremes. You know, you have the people that are paying 20 or 25 or 30% extra to go on vacation, which is not great. But then you also have a lot of people skipping the trip entirely, which may be regrettable later on.
There's a ratio between the money being spent and the amount of time of your trip, and only you can decide if that experience, the memories of the 5-day vacation, is valuable enough to commit to having to worry about paying it off for months in the future.
I mean, I'm literally like getting goosebumps because if you can't make the vacation work, if you can't afford to go on this vacation, don't go on it. You have a long life to live and you have a lot of money to save. You have a lot more vacations in the future for you to go on. Get your money up so that you can go on a vacation stress-free. Put money aside. Stop using credit cards that you can't pay off for vacations. Don't feel FOMO. You're not missing out on anything. You need to get your life in order before you go splurging on vacation that you're going to be regretting going on because you got to pay off all this money. And that was a great example of, I guess, having that sacrifice while you're on vacation. We went to Texas a few months ago and we made a sacrifice of eating breakfast in the Airbnb, and then we went out to eat for lunch and dinner. So we said, all right, we're just going to sacrifice not going out to the pancake house, not going out to a local breakfast spot. And we're going to cook pancakes, bagels, eggs in the house. And for lunch and dinner and, you know, whatever we want to do for dessert, we're going to go out and get that. And that was a sacrifice we made. And it felt good making that sacrifice. I mean, it's just breakfast. It's bacon, eggs, potatoes, it's pancakes, it's simple stuff. So this was a very interesting video. I hope you guys are not spending money that you don't have on vacations. Vacations will come, but you need to budget for them. You need to plan for your vacations so you can have a relaxing vacation and not stress about it while you're on vacation or once you get off vacation. Leave me some comments down below what you guys think about this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.